spirit, a wild thing. And you're terrified somebody's gonna stick you in a cage. Well, baby, you're already in that cage. You built it yourself.
I just want to start a great big place down in your heart. Down in your heart. I just want to. I just want to start a great big place. I just want to. I just want to start a great big place down in your heart. I just want to. I just want to. I just want to start a great big plane down in your heart.
Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum. Good day and welcome everyone. We hope you are doing well with life. I introduce myself first. My name is Farida, a GIS training and marketing executive, and will be act as your host for today's session. So we also have Ms. Nurul as a technical support. Thank you so much for that. For those who attended our previous webinar last week, your attendance and time is highly appreciated. Welcome again for today's session. A warm welcome for the people who joined us for the first time. Before we start, a few notes to be reminded. We will appreciate the cooperation from everyone to change their display name to their real name or your first name. We hope if it could be done, so we could address to you properly if you have the question later. So just a very simple step to follow. As you can see on the slide, you just click on the participant icon, go to your current registered name, and then click on the three dots next to the mute button. Select rename to change it, and then it's done. We also will appreciate if you could put yourself on mute mode, during the presentation. Okay, let me start. Our topic today is about GIS, creating and editing layers. Will be presented by our main speaker, by Mr. Lias Mokrawi. Just a quick introduction about Mr. Lias. Mr. Lias is a geospatial consultant at GIS Innovations Berhad. He has over 27 years experience in GIS consultancy with extensive experience in data manipulation, quality control, data analysis, data integration, ETL, desktop GIS, and also GIS customization. He has worked across multiple industries in GIS implementation, and he is certified in various GIS and ETL tools. So to those who are not familiar with ETL acronym, it stands for extract, transform, and load, which are techniques used for high-end data conversion, data migration, and also data integration. Okay, so for today, as usual, we will divide it into two sessions. The first 45 minutes is for our speaker to share his topic. And after that, we will conduct Q&A for the remaining 15 minutes. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them into the chat window. We will address them during the Q&A. And both Bahasa and English are welcome. We hope you will enjoy the session with us today. So without further ado, I think I will turn the time over to our speaker. So let us welcome Mr. Lias Mokrawi. So turn over to you, Mr. Lias.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Can you hear me, everyone? All clear? Okay. Thank you for coming. I would like to thank also my colleagues, Farida and Nurul or Alin, for the outstanding work that they do every time we do a webinar or any training session. Thank you so much. And thank you very much for coming for this session. Today is our first webinar of 2023, and I hope that we will get more on the way. Our last webinar for this leg will be, I think, sometimes in March. But we are going to do more webinars, things which are more advanced on QGIS. We are thinking of some things, but in between we will take a break. This takes quite a bit of resources and time, but we love what we are doing and we are happy to share with everyone the knowledge. As mentioned earlier in the other in other webinars, this is part of our training, the QGIS training that we provide, the introduction to QGIS. Actually, we have spoken about open source and some other things in our first webinars. You have the recorded webinars on our website. I think, well, when you register, you can see the recorded webinars tab. You are welcome to, to view it again and again. There's no problem. And if you have any questions, you can ask me in Bahasa or also in English. There's no problem. I have been here long enough to understand Bahasa Malaysia. What are we going to talk about today? So we have spoken about a few things during our past webinar. I've spoken about what is GIS and tables. Why tables? Because the tables are part of GIS. This is the information that we retrieve from the data itself, the spatial data. But before that, let me just go back. I want to show you something cool in QGIS. Let me open QGIS. This is my QGIS interface. This is what I use from for my day-to-day work to manipulate data. You can see that it is black. So I'm using here the dark mode. I'm going to change it back to the normal mode. So I just go to to settings, and then options. Okay, so the options will open, and somewhere here, UI theme, I have night mapping. I will change it to default. I will click OK. So this will not take effect until we close or restart QGIS. So I'm going to close QGIS, open QGIS again one time, and I'm going to open a second time. I will let you know why later on. The splash screen is opening on another screen, so bear with me a bit. I have two instances of QGIS opening. So at the meantime, I would like to talk about what we have on the menu today. So we are going to go back to the previous slide from last webinar, what is GIS, and then we are going to talk about what are layers, and then we are going to see layers in QGIS, how to rename the layers, duplicating the layers, deleting the layers, turning on and off the layers, and transferring the layers from one project to another. And then we are going to talk, oh, there you go. Now it's white color. All right. And this is my second QGIS. Let me just put them side by side. There you go. I'm happy with this. Let's go back to my PowerPoint slides. There you go. So number 9, we are going to talk about symbology very briefly, because symbology is huge. It's a huge subject. We are going to do that in one of the webinars. Hopefully, we can cover more information. And we are going to talk about creating layers from scratch and how to edit them as well, creating and editing layers from scratch. All right. So, of course, we are going to end this with questions and answers. So, what is GIS? GIS is looking for information somewhere. So, looking for what, where. Looking for what, meaning any information we have, like here we have any data, any random data, and then where is going to be on the map. All right. So this is GIS. Previously, we have spoken about the what, and this time we are going to talk about the where. The where as how to get our data on in QGIS. So where is the data? Where is it located? So let's take a tour, but before that, let me just show you a few things. Let's talk about layers before we go for the tour. So what are layers? Layers, they are 2D or 3D, mainly 2D planes with specific data, usually of same geometry, depicting different features located on the surface of Earth. Layers are superimposed to create a map in a GIS software, meaning that these layers can be anything, but usually it's the same geometry. Can be points, lines, or polygons. Of course, you have different other geometries, but these are the basic shapes that create a map. I like this logo. This is the logo for QGIS. So the logo is, it's layers. Here you have the first layer is points. The second one is a polygon. Then you have the last one, which are polylines, and the result is, like a map with all the geometry. So yeah, I like this logo, and I just wanted to share. This is what is GIS about, actually. Before we get any further, I just want to show you, I'm going to talk about layers, and I'm going to show you the layers in QGIS itself. So let me open one of the windows that I've opened. There you go. And I'm going to create a blank window. So if I want to add layers, I can add my layers using these on the left-hand side. So you can add vectors, rasters. These are tiles or mesh layers, okay. Delimited text, if you have XY coordinates in, in a CSV file. This is spatial light, data, virtual layers. If you want to add Postgres, this is WMS, WMTS layers, which are web-based layers. And then WCS or WFS. And this is to create a new layer. So we're going to look into this in a bit more details, but let's just add, I'll show you how you can add data. In QGIS, you have, usually you have two tabs here, two panels. So one will show you the layers, the other one is the browser. So what is the browser? The browser, it allows you to select your data from your hard disk or from any other places. Let's do something very simple. So this is what I have. I'm going to go to, let's see. I'm going to open XYZ tiles, and in XYZ tiles, some of them I have added manually by myself, but some are already in, they come with QGIS. So I have Google Maps. Okay, so I have added Google Maps. You can just zoom in. Okay, and then, so this belongs to Google, of course. And then you have OpenStreetMap, which I always use. It's more or less the same thing like Google Maps, but you can just zoom in to anywhere. Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? This is interesting. So it shows you some of the, like points of interest, like these are restaurants, this is a clinic, this is a football field, and so on. Let's just skip this. Let's skip this view here. Or here you can see you have a surau, you have houses. All right. I'm going to show you something else very cool. This is from here.com. All right. Shows you traffic, so real traffic. So I just drag it and drop it here. There, this is the real traffic in this area. You can see yellow is, a bit of jam, slow traffic. Green is free. Let's find somewhere else. Okay. And here, for example, this part is red. That means that there is traffic jam, right? Slow traffic or standstill traffic. All right. Now, if I go here to my layers, I can just look at the maps. I can just turn on and turn off the entire layers. Okay. Put back the traffic flow. So this is the traffic flow, traffic with nothing. All right. If I zoom in here, Okay, and then I switch on the OpenStreet layer. I can tell which area is that. Okay. All right. So this is something pretty simple. And I will put back this QGIS window here. And I will add my other QGIS side by side. Close this. All right. I'm going to create a new QGIS window. Let me check. Sorry, a new project. All right. All right, cool. Now, so when we talk about layers, I'm going to show you two things. The first one will be to import a layer inside my view and manipulate it, or maybe we see if we can edit it. And then I'm going to show you how we can create a layer from scratch. Okay. I have some data, which is part of our training database. Sorry, that is not what I wanted to show. Hang on, and then I have, oops. The webinars. And then I have training data. So these are the data that we use in our training. So we are all very familiar with shapefiles, all right? So what we will do is we are going to click on view. I go back to the detailed view. I will look for the shapefile, any shapefile here. I have schools. I will just drag and drop inside my view here. There you go. So these are schools. Okay, if I want to know where is this located, I know where it is located. I will just go to open my XYZ tiles. I look for OpenStreetMap. There you go. So yeah, as you can see here, when I added the layer, the OpenStreetMap, my polygons have disappeared. Okay, that's because if you see here, QGIS will draw on the canvas here. It will draw the data from the bottom to top. So meaning that now what QGIS did was it wrote it. It drew the polygons first, and then it loaded the OpenStreetMap on the top. So it's covering the other layer. So if I want the layers to appear, what I have to do is I just drag, I'd select, then drag it and drop it underneath the school. And now you can see that the school polygon, these are called polygons, are on the top of the OpenStreetMap. All right. So let's see other sample data, sorry. Let me put back to the detailed view. Okay. I have what we call a geopackage file. GeoPackage is actually, it is a file that can contain several layers. So it can be points, polygons, polylines, and it can even contain rasters as well. It is an open format. Many software now are using the GeoPackage. So GeoPackage does not belong to anyone, right? It is an open format. So I'll just drag it, and then I drop it to my first window, my first QGIS. And then I will have this window that will show me what layers are available in this geo package file. They'll ask me, I can choose which layer I want to add. So let's do something. I'm just going to select all, and then I click on add layers. So we wait a bit. And you can see that now my layers have been added into my map. So what I will do is I'm going to switch off the OpenStreetMap and also the traffic flow map. So what I will do is I will just right-click on one of the layers, and then I click on Zoom to Layers. All right. So here are all my layers. And just to take a closer look, I will zoom in. So this is my data. And as you have seen during our last webinar, you can just click on this button to open the attribute data. I just click here. And this is the data that I have. This data is from South Africa, all right? Okay. So what I can do, of course, I can just select anything I want. Well, we have seen that during our past webinar. I'm not going to spend time in that. I just close it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on the OpenStreetMap. There you go. So here now I have the name of the streets. Where is that area? Okay. If I zoom out, just to see the location, you can see that it is in South Africa. So I will just right-click again, and then zoom to layers. All right. I'm going to remove the OpenStreetMap. I'm going to switch it off, turn it off. And I'm going to reorganize my windows. I'm going to get the other one here, just to put them side by side. So one of the cool things that QGIS can do is, let's say I have here 2 projects. I can just, let me see if it works like this. I can just right-click and then copy layer. I go to my other project, right-click, paste layer, and there you go. So I managed to copy and paste one layer from one project to another project. So I'll just right-click and zoom to layer. I turn off, turn on. These are just fields, actually. It's just Padang, okay? Or it's just a school. Okay, let me just try something else. I don't know if I can just drag and drop. That should work as well. Yeah. So I can just drag from one project and drop it into another project. All right. I'm going to remove the layer. So I just right-click and click on Remove Layer. Ask you, do you want to remove it? I say yes. It is not going to delete the data from your hard disk, just removing the layer from your project. There you go. Other things that I can do here, I have school properties. I can just click once, then click a second time. Sorry, then I just press on F2, and then I just type schools. That's one way to rename. Okay. I can just press F2 on my keyboard to do that. Just press enter. So this is how you more or less manipulate your data. So I've shown you already how you manipulate the layers. So I can turn on, turn off any layer. I can rename the layer. I can remove the layer if I want to. Right click and then remove layer. Yep, I click OK. I've shown you also that you can just drag and drop. Okay, school, you can just drag and drop from your from the, I call it Windows Explorer. That is the File Explorer. I go back to QGIS. There you go. Now it's a different color. Whenever you, because this is a shapefile. Shapefile does not hold a color or style, so you will not be able to get the same color every time you load the file. With QGIS will just assign a random color. But what if I want to use the previous color, this color? So what I can do is I can just right click, and then I have styles, copy styles. I copy all the styles categories. Then I go to the other window, right click, styles, and then I paste all styles. So you can see that I've taken the styles. I copied the styles from one project and loaded and pasted to, the styles from a layer in a first project, and then I pasted the style properties to the same layer in a different project. It could have been a different layer as well. So if I have here, let's say water, I know that water is blue color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on water. Oops, the symbology window opened somewhere else. So what I will do is I'm just going to click on simple fill and choose my blue color. Let's say if I like this color, I'm okay with it. Then we click on OK. And now you can see that this is blue color. If I right click and zoom to the layer, so these are blue, these are water features. So what I can do is I can just turn off the layers I don't need. Let's say I just need the water layers. And I can just turn off everything else. All right. Now, let's say if I want to create new data, my own data. Before we talk about adding the data, or never mind, I'll just create data here. So I will click on this button, new shapefile. Can be new shapefile, new spatial light, new geo package. I'll just use new shapefile. And then I will call the name. I have to find a place. So this is my data, and then I call it POIs.shape. Okay, I don't have to put .shape actually, just POIs, meaning POIs is a point of interest with S, just to say that it's a plural. Click on save. Okay. And then I can add as many fields as I want. Later on, you can add fields if you want to. But since it's POIs, it's points, I need to make sure that the geometry I choose is point and not lines or polygons. I will keep the coordinate system as WGS84. And for those who don't know, WGS84 is usually it's the coordinate system which is used for the like when you use your GPS or when you use your phone. All right, so this is what is, it's like a global, the coordinates are set globally. Okay, so name, I call it a first field, that would be ID. I can just put it, keep it as a string, but otherwise can just put it as an integer if I want to, but I'll just leave it as a string. Then I click on add to field list, but I have already an ID. So what I'll do is I'll put a name instead. Okay, add to field list. And then another field will be, I'm going to put X as longitude. I'm going to use decimal. Okay, precision 6, meaning how many numbers after the decimal point. I will add that. And then I'm going to add Y. Same thing, I just put add to field list. And once I'm done, I click OK. All right, so I have my POIs here. I'm going to rename this. I'll just put points of interest. All right. But in this case, what I will do is I will go back to our previous view, which is Malaysia. And I go somewhere in KL perhaps, or yeah, KL. I zoom in further. Okay, so here, for example, I have a bank. So what I will do is I'm going to remove the other layers, the school and maybe the traffic flow as well, and the training data. I'm going to remove all that. Remove group. Yes, okay, fine. And I will start editing. To start editing, I just click on this toggle editing. Once I'm done, you can see a button here with adding points. So I'm going to add points. I'm going to put here, I call it the ID 0. I put 01, and then name is going to be CIMB Bank. I will leave the XY coordinates empty. Click OK. So let's take a look at our table. You can see that I already have one record with the data that I've included. And then let's see, anything else interesting? What is this? Okay, I have a masjid here. So 02. I put here mosque. All right. And then what else do I have? I have here, this looks like a food court. I click here and I put 03, and I put food court. Okay. All right, so I have a few points already. Once I've done editing, creating my layer, I'm happy with the edits for now. I can just save first. And then to stop editing, I just toggle this button. And that's it. Now, let's see what we have done so far. I'm going to right click, zoom to layer, So these are the 3 points that we have added. If I look at the table, okay, my table is still there. It's good. Now, what I will do is I'm going to add a few buildings. Like this is Manara, or this is a proposed building. I put here, let's say Plaza Rakyat. So to do that, I'm going to create a new shapefile. The name will be buildings. Okay, save. Geometry will be polygons. And then I have fields. I'm going to call it name. Of course, we need a name. I'm going to add to field list. And then the other one will be area. I'm going to calculate later on, not in this webinar. We are going to look at, you just put an area field. But instead of string, I'm going to put decimal, and then I just put precision 2. And I add to field list. That's great. Then I will click OK. All right, I'd just double check. Coordinate system, I use the same. I have my fields. I have my my shapefile name. Then I click OK. There's my building. So for this exercise, I'm going to digitize one building. So I just click on the toggle editing. It's the same way as the points just now. And then here I have create, add polygon. I just zoom in, and then I just, as they say, aga only. No, not much precision. There you go. Once I'm done, I just right click with the mouse, and that's it. So ID will be 01. Name, that will be Plaza Rakyat. Okay, and then I click on OK. Here's my polygon. Sometimes I want to view what is behind the polygon. So what I can do is I just go to the properties, or first I'm going to save, stop editing, and then I look at the properties of the fill or the symbology here, and then I look at the opacity. I will change it to, let's give it a try, 65. Then here shows you how it would look like. Let's see if I apply. That's good, but I want to make it more transparent. I will use 75. Click on apply. No, 55. Sorry. Yeah, that's better. Then I click OK. Now, the last exercise that I will do very quickly is to create a line. But what line are we going to create? We are going to look at, let's look at Jalan Hang Lekir. All right, so we are going to digitize this road from here to here. We're going to create a new line. So to create a new line, what we do is we click on add a new shapefile. All right. And then what I will do is I'm going to call it roads. Done. I click save. Geometry has to be lines. I'm going to add, I have an ID field already. So I will add a name of the Jalan. Text string, 80 is fine. I click add to field list. And then I'm going to add another one. I'm going to call it length. Okay. Then, oh, it's not a string. It is a decimal. Or let's say if I do a mistake, I put the length as a string. Accidentally, I click OK, but I know that the length, the length should be a number. So what I will do is we just click here, then remove field. It's as easy as that. So what I'll do is I'm going to recreate it, length. And I'm going to use decimal. Okay. And then I put 2. Then add to field list. If I'm happy with all this, I just click OK. And here's my road. All right. So let's start editing this. I'm going to add my line. Hang on. Why I can't get the okay, there you go. So just click and click and click. If I'm happy with this, I just right click and I've saved it. So 01 is the ID. Name will be Jalan. And click here. And I keep the length empty. I will click OK. Now I see that this line is not nice. It's not, well, it's not nice. I can't see it very well. So what I will do is first I'm going to save. I'm going to stop editing. I will double click on the, or I rename it first to roads. Okay. Then double click on roads. Right. And simple line. I'm going to change the color. I'm going to use black, as black can be. And then the stroke width, I'm going to make it a bit thicker. Okay, let's see how it looks. This is a bit too much, I think. All right, never mind. I click on apply. Okay, it's fine. Okay. And later on, we are going to see, or let me show you a trick. I'm going to remove the OpenStreetMap. And I'm going to label, show labels, and there you go. So it is as simple as that. We're not going to get into details, but I just wanted to show you this. Now, let me experiment something. What if I create a new GeoPackage layer? Database will be, I call it KL data. Then I save it. Geometry type, I put points. Okay. I just keep it as it is. All right. So by the same way, we can also have this, how do you call it? Can add data as we added for the shapefiles. All right. So I'm not going to do more digitizing. I'm going to remove this layer. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a group. I call it KL data. That's ugly. Okay, KL data. And I can select all of these layers and put them inside my group. So the group is nice because what I can do is I can organize it the way I want. And if I turn off the group, okay, let me just zoom in first to the group. So this is all my data. And then I can just turn off everything one go. turn on and turn off. Okay. All right. I think for the time being, we have shown quite a bit of functionalities. Let me just go back to the slides to make sure that I've not forgotten anything. One thing, why coordinate systems? Usually when you create new layers, QGIS will by default choose WGS84, but you can choose other coordinate systems. I have some data here about the CRS coordinate references. It's from QGIS. So map projections, they try to portray the surface of the Earth, of a portion of the Earth as a flat piece. And they reference the CRS because in QGIS, you are going to see CRS. A coordinate reference system then defines with the help of coordinates how the two-dimension projected map in your GIS related to real place on the Earth will be represented basically. Farida will be putting all these links, so you can check it out later on in our recording page. Right. Yeah, this is very interesting because sometimes we are not going to talk much about coordinate systems, but let's say if I go back to QGIS, and so what QGIS does, if you look here, it will automatically, if you have data which is in a certain coordinate system, and then you get your layer on inside QGIS, it will make what we call on-the-fly reprojection, meaning that it will change from the data coordinate system to the coordinate system of your display here, of your display view window. And of course, you can change any, you can set any coordinate system if you want to. Just a moment. Let me just close the other window, which I don't need. Okay. All right. Okay, it's opening. So I can change any coordinate system that I want. But what I wanted to show you is, let's say if your coordinate system, if I just double click on any layer, just one moment, because I'm using so many applications at the same time. Okay. Just give it a moment. I will show you that later. So what I wanted to show in this slide was that so you can use any coordinate system you want. You can search for Malaysia GDM 2000 or Kertau or RSO, right? So we have seen how you can work with vector data. I'm not going to spend time reiterating what you have seen earlier. So I've shown you also how you can get data from, the data that you have created. I have to view it again. All right, so the attribute table will open, something like this. You can view your data. You have seen also the demo. Okay, we have taken a tour. We have seen how to load, I've shown you the example. We have a GeoCap package. You can just load the data to QGIS by just dragging and dropping. That's one way to do it. Of course, you can add layers, or you can use from the browser, as we have shown that in previous webinars. Okay, this is also, we have shown you the manager for the data. All right, I've added the geo package layers. Let me see if I have not forgotten anything. So we have data manager. Okay, we don't need to see this now. So manipulating layers, I've shown you also how we can reorder the layers, rename the layers. I've not shown you how to duplicate. I'm going to do it now. I've seen how to delete the layers, how to turn off and on the layers, and transferring the layers from one project to another just by dragging and dropping from one window to the other, or just to copy the layer and paste it in a different project. So I've shown you also how to create data from scratch, just how to create points, lines, and polygons. Those are the basic geometries. I've shown you a bit about the symbology, how you can change, how you can copy and paste symbology from one layer to another. I think we have reached already the end of this session, but I just want to check what happened to my QGIS. There you go. So earlier, what I wanted to do was to check the coordinate system source. Okay. Let me just right click and then look at the layer CRS. I can set the project CRS from layer or select layer CRS. There you go. So let's say if I'm using, for example, Kartao, let's say I'm using WGS84, but it has to be digitizing Kartao. I can just type Kartao to search. I have here. This is chain actually, should be, it should have meters as well. And then they have all the EPSG code. Maybe we should talk about EPSG code in one of the webinars as well. That is something very useful. Or just type here Timbalai 1948. This is for Borneo, all right? And if you want to type search for GDM 2000, here you have the list of the grids, GDM 2000, and all the EPSG codes as well. All right. So this is about the coordinate systems. That's what I wanted to show. I think we have covered most of the details. We have taken 10 minutes more than what I should take, but it's okay. If you have any questions, I can see that there have been a few questions already. Yeah, so I let Farida take over from here. I look forward to answer your questions.
Okay, thanks, Delius. So I also can see lots of questions here, but first of all, we apologize for taking some extra time for today's sharing session. And before we proceed to the Q&A, I just would like to say thank you to TSGS Dr. Erniza Suhana from and all students from UiTM Shah Alam, UiTM Perlis for joining us today. And also thank you to Mr. Izaham, who also answering those questions in the chat box. However, I will also address the question from our participants today to Mr. Lies for answer. So the first question actually come from Mr. Josh Firi. He asked about is the QGIS online software or it can be used when offline? Just now, Mr. Lias just opened the Google Maps, added traffic flow, and it delineated red line represent as a traffic congestion. So is it a real time? This from Mr. Just reading. The first question, Mr. Lias.
Okay, you are referring to this, I guess. Here traffic. Well. You can register for at here.com, and to a certain extent of use, it is free. But then if you go beyond a certain point, you need to pay, all right? What is going to happen is if you don't give your credit card details, it will just stop. But I think that the amount of hits provided is quite generous by here.com. So yeah, you can just use it if you wish to. All right. So that was the question, right?
Yes, that's from Mr. Jaswiri. And the second one, I think it is a very general question for our webinar from Mr. Mahfuz Fikri. So he just asked, is this webinar being recorded on and it can be downloaded after this webinar ended? So I already answered. The answer is we are recording our live webinar and it will be uploaded soon in our official website, but you just can rewatch, it cannot be downloaded.
I'm not sure if it can be downloaded or not. Let me check. Lynn?
Cannot, right?
Cannot, but I'm sure there must be a hack somewhere if you want to download it. But I think there is no issue to share the video if you need it. Maybe you can see if we can allow people to download the video. Can it be done? Okay, we will look into it. For now, if you need the video, we can share with you, but we need to edit. So, just to remove every time I sneeze, and also just to make sure that it's clean. And we will, yeah, definitely we can share with you, no issues. The only thing that we don't share is the slides. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. So we proceed for the next question. Is from Mr. Najib Nasir. The question is the open street map is built in QGIS, right? Open street map.
As I know, yes, it is. Yeah. So for the rest, you need to add that manually. Yeah. Perhaps I will share. I don't have it now with me. I don't want to waste your time in this. I will share later on, Farida, in the website. We just add I'm going to add the link for a website where you can add all the X, Y, Z layers.
Okay, noted on that. Yes. So
Please remind me.
Okay, yeah, sure. And then I think I can see here we have also question from Mr. Irham. The question is about the geo package can be open in any version of QGIS?
As I know, it can, but the most important is that it can be opened in other products as well. I'm not sure about ArcGIS though. I don't use ArcGIS, but I know that Esri, they have their own geo package as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Huh? All right. It should be able to. It should be able to be open. Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. Right.
And then I think this is the last question for today's. The question is from Mr. Amirul. He asked about how to process DEM data to 3D.
Oh, okay. Usually what I do, can you still see my screen? Can you see QGIS, right? Okay. What you can do is you look at processing. Okay, hang on, because I did not open the GRASS version of QGIS, because when you install QGIS, you can open there are two versions. One is the QGIS, the other one is QGIS with GRASS. GRASS is an open source, can be remote sensing software if you want, something like that. So I would just go to Toolbox, and then from here I have all these kind of processes. So for example, if I want to do DEM, I just type DEM, and then see, can do any kind of process you want from any of your layers, right? So yeah, you have to try. I like, because you have GDAL, GRASS, and you have Saga. Saga, they do a lot of processing on all this kind of 3D as well. To view your data in 3D, though, you have to open a 3D map view. So from there, you'll be able to do that. I don't want to do that now. To tell you the truth, I don't have enough processing power on this computer. I hope that I will improve that. We will improve that in our next webinars, but definitely it's in the pipeline. What you do is you just click on view. I can just add a new map view. You can actually add even another view if you want on QGIS, but let me check. Okay, there's my other view. I can do that if I want to. All right, this is just a 2D view, but you can definitely add two views, and then you can just settings, synchronize. This is good because you can just view different kind of layers as well. But this is off topic to the question that you asked. But yes, you can definitely process 3D data depending on what you want to process. QGIS with Saga, GRASS, GDAL, and QGIS itself, the processing tools, it is very powerful and it's very fast to process the data. And the results are pretty accurate from what I've tried in the past. So this is one way to process your 3D data. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, as I can see here, we still have two more questions. So the next question also come from Mr. Amirul. What the difference between arc and nodes?
An arc usually is a line. A node is a point. Okay, so it can be a node can be a point which is creating a line, right? So, for example, if I have an arc, let me just do something with the roads here. If I let me remove this view, I don't need it. I remove this as well. Then I zoom to layer the roads. Okay, there you go. And then I'm going to add some other. I'm going to add. Hang on. There you go. Okay. 02 name. I call it test. Click OK. So this is my line. And then hang on, to show the nodes, meaning the points that are creating this line, we select, you have this, you can see, these are all the points. So let's say I can just right click, or I can just click, move it if I want to. Okay, I can edit it. So you are editing the nodes of the line. So an arc is just a line, right? So it depends on the technology, on the software used. Yeah, when they use the term arc, meaning it's a line, or that was the term used long time ago. But now we use more the terms lines or polylines. Okay, so if I don't need this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this line and press on the delete button on my keyboard. I just right click. Yeah, so just delete one feature. I save my data and I stop editing. Okay, right. I hope this answers your question. Okay, Wimpy TA, all right.
Wimpy.
If I have a tabular data such as table from fields, okay, so from fields or GPS coordinates, how put in process in QGIS. So to do that, you just use the click on the this button and where, okay, there it is, vectors, and then you can just add the file name, let's say CSV, and then you choose, oh, this is what I've done in our previous webinar. We have taken the JUPAM offices location, so I just select that, for example, and then I will say X, that would be longitude, Y is latitude, and then I add, click on close. So this, it has added the data into this group. I just zoom to layers, and this is all the data from all the location of the JUPAM offices in Malaysia. All right. Amirul, what do you mean by do I need to use nodes anymore? Nodes, you don't have to worry about nodes. It's just that nodes are there. It depends on which software you're using. When you use GIS, usually you don't worry about the nodes. It's just what we call them vertices or one vertex. Yeah, so it's just a matter, it's a naming convention only. So you have not done anything wrong by calling them nodes, right? It's still correct. All right.
Okay, I think that's all. We have got you here for today, also for the question. So thanks to those who already asked the question and also who already shared the information through the chat box. And I think it's time for anything else, Mr. Elias?
I'm okay. Just checking kalau ada orang nak bayar belanja saya tarik lah.
Oh,
Itu sajalah. The rest is okay. No problem.
Okay, I think that's all for today. And before we left this Zoom session, maybe it's time for our group Wi-Fi. Maybe
okay.
you can turn
I'm
on
going to
your
stop
video for a
sharing.
while if you don't mind.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen first.
Yes. Hope you are spotting. So this picture also we will upload into our official website.
Jangan
check
malu lah,
later.
please.
Yes.
Siapa itu gelap? Tak boleh nampak lah.
Mr. Said, gelap. Turn on your light.
Macam, sorry ya, jangan marah. Macam kidnapper lah. Like, okay, you give us back give us money. Hey, so many, thank you for coming. Ada lagi? Hey, thanks, that's much better.
Student from UiTM Perlis, if available, doctor, you still here? Nana, where are you from?
You can unmute yourself actually. Boleh? Itu saja.
Ini je. Others not spotting.
Lain semua malu. Sana ada group. So
yes.
Adriana kan?
Maybe student.
Okay, all right. So we give you 10 seconds. Kalau tak on apa? Tak on video, then it's okay. But you hold on first.
Okay. Everyone ready?
Ready? Okay. So just print screen. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we humbly apologize for any shortcomings on our behalf. So maybe hopefully we will see you in next webinar.
Sorry, so bad lah.
Yeah.
I forgot to add the last screen lah.
Yeah, sharing.
This one is the most important. So I'll just share the screen again. Yep. Just this slide is just if you want to contact us. So this is our website, gis.com.my. To register, gis.com.my webinars or webinars. And then you have the recorded webinars as well. Any inquiries, you can email to sales@gis.fm, but I would directly to Farida. Farida,
yeah, betul. Anything you can just drop an email to sales or to my email, my personal email.
Maybe we should add Lynn punya email for next session.
Right. Okay, sure.
Okay, so that's about it. I just leave it at the meantime, and thank you so much. If you have friends who are from other universities, please contact them as well. This is free. Today we had a very good attendance, and I hope that you have learned a lot. And please take a look at our recorded webinars.
Okay, thank you to GIS Professional too for spending your time, your very precious time with us. And thank you to all students who joined us for today. Bye. See you
Thank you.
again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.